Okay, do you see Miss Tam? See Miss Tam in there, Jennifer?
Just 1 second. Let's see. All I can see are me and you.
Oh, I didn't make you a co-host. Oh, gosh. I really need you to co-host on this one. Let's see. Can't see today. Got you down here, but I don't see. It's going to make you a co. Oh, there you are here. You should be a co-host now.
Oh gosh, we got OCOK people, CASA specialist. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So who do you want? We have Darcy.
Oh, well, I guess we need that. We got Ms. Davis, and we have
Yes.
the Gillilands and Ms. Allen.
You want to let them all in right now?
Yeah, I guess just let them all in. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm just going to admit the whole waiting room.
And just 1 second before you do it. Okay, you got Cindy is representing the department, and Darcy Deno's kind of line them. Okay, yeah, just let everybody in. Ms. Davis, are you there?
Yes.
Okay, can you turn your video on, please? Okay, we got everybody here now that needs to be here.
I believe so, Your Honor.
All right. Y'all ready to get started? Ms. Davis, are you ready?
Yes.
And Ms. Allen, are you ready?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Williams?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. And Ms. Deno?
I'm ready.
All right, let's get started. You ready, Jennifer?
Yes, sir.
I will call for final trial, call number 324-692-46520, styled in the interest of LYLAH Foley and Sapphire Davis. Present today is the petitioner, Danita Davis. The counter petitioners, Andrea and Richard Gilliland are here, are present, along with their attorney, Catherine Allen. The Department of Family and Protective Services, the respondent in this case, is present, represented here by Assistant District Attorney Cindy Williams, and also appearing today is Darcy Deno, the attorney guardian ad litem for the children. I'm going to ask that everyone who expects to testify in this case to please raise your right hands. Do you all swear or affirm the testimony you'll give in this cause will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I
Yes,
do.
sir.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Davis, you are the petitioner in this case. And since you don't have an attorney, and there's no one here to ask you questions as far as in direct examination of you, I'm going to allow you to testify, and you may just testify in the narrative. The only thing that I would ask you to do is if one of the attorneys objects and you hear an objection, if you'll stop talking until we deal with the objection, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
You understand? All right,
Yes.
and so we're on the record here. There's a court reporter, so I need you to just speak slowly and clearly. And people have a tendency, especially when you're nervous, to start talking a little faster. And so if you'll just try to speak slowly where our court reporter can keep up with you, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, I appreciate it. So you may proceed.
And Your Honor, I know the people that got sworn in, if there are any additional witness, I would just ask that they have the rule invoked. I don't know if there's one person that says Kenneth Davis. I don't know if they're not a witness. I don't have any problem with them staying. I just want to make sure that if we have any additional witnesses that.
Okay, well, I can, if you want to invoke the rule, I can invoke the rule and have everybody, we can take them out into the waiting room. Would you like to do that?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Then I've sworn all of you in. And Mr. Davis, did you hear earlier when I swore all the witnesses in?
Yes,
Okay, Kenneth Davis.
I'm Lisa Davis, sorry. I'm Andrea's niece.
As long
Okay,
as she's not a witness, Your Honor, I don't have any problem with anybody. I'm not going to call her. I just want to make sure that I didn't know if Miss Danita Davis has any other witnesses. I don't see any additional witnesses. I only have my client and then the department and their representative. So I don't see any other of mine. I just didn't know about hers.
Ms. Davis, do you have any other witnesses besides yourself in this case?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Well, if it's just the department and their folks, and you're not going to call Ms. Day, well, then I think you're okay.
Great. Thank you, Judge.
All right. Then let's proceed. And again, Ms. Davis, you may proceed with your testimony.
Okay, thank you, sir. My name is Danita Davis. I am the maternal grandmother of LYLAH and Sapphire. Those babies lived at my house. When my daughter was pregnant, she lived with me. The babies lived with me when they came home from the hospital. I was there until CPS got involved. I've loved them babies with everything in me. And my daughter has struggled on and off with substance abuse and being responsible. Well, in January of 2018, my daughter got her 2 babies and she left my house and she didn't come back. And over the course of the next 10 days, I was getting reports and hearing that she was on drugs and that the babies weren't safe, and I was trying to reach her. So I could not reach her, but she is on my phone account. So what I did figure out that she was in fact on drugs. And the day that I found out that she was in fact on drugs, which was 10 days after the day she left my house, I called CPS and I asked them to help me because I didn't have any other option. I needed to help the babies. They needed help. And I called my phone company and I put a tracer on her phone since she's on my account. And I got with CPS and I asked them to come and help me get the babies. The babies were never supposed to go to a foster home. My friend was going to bring them to her house. I have a criminal record and CPS history from the criminal records years ago. CPS history is also, it's less years, but it's years ago. And so I knew that I wouldn't be able to get them directly myself dealing with CPS, but being with CPS, I still had a friend that was willing to step up, and then they did a background check on her husband, and he had a felony like in 1986 that was a drug charge felony, and they denied that placement. And I was supposed to be able to continue taking care of the babies. Things did not work out. They denied that placement. The babies stayed in a foster home with Mr. and Mrs. Gillian. And over the course of time, like I went to every visit with those that we were able to visit with the babies. I went every chance I could to see them, and everything I could do to, I did it. I also sought therapy counseling behind this because I wanted to get involved. I sought legal help. Attorneys were telling me there would be nothing I would be able to do until Monica's rights were terminated. And the direction I was given was, let's pray that she gets herself together and that she will get off drugs and get her kids back. If she doesn't get her kids back, that's when you can intervene. So the day of her termination trial, that's when I intervened because she was getting her rights terminated. There was a period of time where she was doing good, and she made it. We were 3 weeks away from the reunification when the girls were supposed to go home, when she had a relapse and left. So by that time, I didn't have a whole bunch of time for recourse on what to do. And I really was just, I haven't known what to do. I haven't known what to do throughout this whole thing, except for what I'm told. And through my own support group and network of people, the attorney's advice, a therapist, the best thing that I could do is keep my hands off of the situation and stay out of it, not be like helping my daughter. Like if I would have got the babies out of CPS or out of the system, then I didn't want her to just be like, well, my mom has my kids, I don't need to change, because I wasn't just loving and concerned about my granddaughters. I'm also loving and concerned about my daughter, and I wanted her to get help. So I thought if I left the babies there and she thought her rights would be terminated if she didn't, I thought she would make some change. She did not make the changes that she needed to make. The babies ended up going from, they were with Mr. and Mrs. Gillian for almost 12 months. Then they were placed because of Monica having that relapse and not 3 weeks before the court date and not being able to have the reunification. The babies were then placed with their paternal grandmother. And while they were with her, I had the babies. They were under her name, but CPS removed all restrictions from me. I didn't have any restrictions. So I had the girls half the week and she had the girls half the week. She had them Tuesday after daycare, after she got off, from Monday when she got off of work until Friday morning when she dropped them off at daycare. And then Friday when I got out of work, I picked them up from daycare and I had them until Monday when I took them to daycare. So for that 5 months that they were with them, they were still very tied to me. My house was the house that they had lived in prior to the Gillians, and knowing that's what, they were familiar with. Well, Sapphire wasn't, she was much younger. So, but LYLAH definitely recognized. And then, so anyway, I filed all this. The other paternal grandmother, she ended up having a drug test and she tested positive for drugs, and the babies they went straight to the daycare and picked the babies up from daycare. I have not been able to see them since the case was closed, I haven't been able to see them since like October of 2020. And was it 2020? It's been a while since I've seen them. I reached out to Mr. and Mrs. Gillian. I asked, I would like to participate in their life, that I want to be a part of their life. And we had been going back and forth trying to come up with a plan that was, because my love is just pure for them. I don't want to see them hurting. I don't want to see them in an unsafe situation. I don't want to be excluded from their life. I don't want to never get to see them. And so there was a plan. We were talking about a plan of being able to see me see the babies actually for LYLAH's birthday, and then that fell through because there was paperwork that they asked me if I was willing to sign some paperwork in order for them to proceed with the adoption, basically that I'm not going to fight it, and that they would allow me to see the girls. And they sent me the paperwork, and I said, well, what I really want to see is something like in writing. I want, if we're going to have a judge sign this, then I want it to say you're going to allow me to see them, because I feel like if I sign this, there's a possibility that you'll let me see them for LYLAH's birthday, and then I'll never see them again. I love these babies so much that I called CPS on my own daughter to get them help. I stayed out of the case for a long time out of love for them, because if their mom could have stayed off drugs, there's no love that can replace a mother's love. Unfortunately, that's not how it turned out. So now here we are. I didn't surrender anything because I still want to be a part of their life. And I still, if I have a choice to just be a part of their life, I'll be a part of their life as the grandma. And if it is where I have to raise them as my own children in order to maintain a relationship with them, I will. I know my record doesn't look good. I know that there's a lot of things that the state is looking at from my past, but that's exactly what it is. It's my past. When I thought, and that the reason why I was so adamant about Monica being able to change if she thought she was never going to see her kids again, is because that's exactly what changed my life. I could not fathom never seeing my kids again. So when I faced those two options, I changed my life. And I feel like I'm still judged and criticized based on that. I understand that it's a high risk, but living is a high risk. I mean, just to wake up and take a breath is a risk. Everything is a risk, so we can't really judge. I feel like it's not right to judge me on this. When all I've done, I didn't call CPS for these babies to be removed from my life forever. I really just called because I love them and I wanted them to be safe. And now I'm facing never seeing them again, because this is where we're at, 2.5 years later.
Anything else, Ms. Davis?
I don't think so, sir.
Ms.
Your
Allen?
Honor.
I'm sorry, did you have something else, Ms. Davis?
No, I was saying I don't think so, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Allen, did you have any questions, Ms. Davis?
I do, thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Davis, is your legal name Danita Davis, or is it something else?
Danita Davis.
Okay, and did you previously go by Danita Ann Tam?
Yes, that was my married name.
Okay, and what is your date of birth?
10/8/80.
And you previously lived in Michigan, is that correct?
Yes.
And where do you currently reside now?
Texas.
What is the address you reside at now?
I live in Saginaw, Texas.
Okay, objection non-responsive. What is the address you reside at now?
Why do I have to give my address to you?
Well, ma'am, if there's going to be, you're asking to adopt these children. And so if I was going to grant the adoption, I would certainly need to know where you live and need to be able to verify it's a proper placement and all sorts of things. So I think the address is important.
Yes, sir. I understand that from your side. It kind of threw me off coming for all these people that I don't even know are on this court hearing. My address is 933 Canary Drive, Saginaw, Texas, 76131.
And how long have you resided there?
3 months.
And who resides there with you?
My son,
What is his name?
Chaden Hug,
What is his date of birth?
12/26/12.
And prior to that, where did you live?
At 6084 Grand Champion Boulevard,
Okay.
Fort Worth.
And at Grand Champion, did you reside there with somebody else?
Yes,
Who did you reside there with?
When I moved out of there, it was just me and my son living there.
Prior to that, who else lived in the home at Grand Champion?
John Byer,
And who is John Byer to you?
he was my fiance.
All right. And is it accurate that he passed away on February 6th of 2020?
Yes, ma'am.
And isn't it accurate that he actually passed away of a drug overdose?
Yes, ma'am.
And Your Honor, I would offer Gillian's Exhibit Number 8, which is a certified copy of the Tarrant County Medical Examiner's autopsy report for John Byer. Date of death is 2/6 of 2020.
All right, Ms. Davis, do you have any objections to the admission of that exhibit?
No, sir, it's true.
All right, and Ms. Williams, do you have any objections?
No objections, Your Honor.
And Ms. Deno?
No.
All right. How'd you mark it? Just,
It's Exhibit Number 8, Your Honor. If you'd like to check it.
can we just call it counter respondent or counter petitioners? Exhibit number 8 is admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. Is it accurate, Ms. Davis, that Mr. Byer was actively using drugs at the time that you were residing together?
No, ma'am, that's not true. He had a relapse that night. My brother passed away less than 48 hours before that in California. I was actually in California when my brother passed away. John was not using drugs. He had not been on drugs. He had a relapse while I was gone that night. He died as a result of that relapse because he had been clean and then had a relapse.
He died because he was using drugs, correct?
I'm sorry, there's a noise. So would you ask that question again, please, Ms. Allen?
Yes, Your Honor. He died because he used drugs. Is that correct?
Yes,
And is it safe to say that you also have a history of drug abuse?
in the past.
Isn't it accurate that as recently as the summer of 2020, there was an alternative response CPS case which alleged that you were using heroin and cocaine?
That's true, and it was also unfounded.
Objection, non-responsive after that is true.
I'll sustain the objection after that is true.
Thank you, Your Honor.
It's not true.
Okay, ma'am, the way this is going to work, I'm going to allow Ms. Allen and Ms. Williams and Ms. Deno to ask you questions. And then you write this down, anything that you think you need to clarify, I'll give you a chance to testify again after they finish asking you questions.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
And would you agree with me that you have extensive criminal history in Michigan?
I have criminal history in Michigan.
Okay. Have you reviewed my petitioner's exhibit number 5?
No, ma'am.
Your Honor, I would offer petitioner's exhibit, counter petitioner's exhibit number 5, which is the Michigan iChat criminal history access for Danita Ann Tam, date of birth October 8th of 1980.
All right, and Ms. Davis, you do have a copy of these exhibits, is that correct?
Unless it's in an email, I've received emails. I don't know. I haven't seen any exhibits. I can look.
Ms. Allen, did you send Ms. Davis a copy of your exhibits?
Yes, Your Honor, I sent them to all of the opposing counsel and to Ms. Davis at the same time, all in one email. And did provide them as well to Ms. Hunter.
You remember when you sent that to Ms. Davis?
It would have been yesterday, Your Honor, in preparation for this trial.
You should have got something yesterday, Ms. Davis.
I did receive some kind of email, but I wasn't able to look through the whole thing.
Well, those are the exhibits that Ms. Allen is offering now, and I guess will offer during the balance of this trial. So it's important that you have those. Do you have something that you can look at it as we go? Look at the exhibit.
Yes, sir. Please forgive me. I'm looking for it in my email right now.
Thank you.
It's this says, Miss Allen, is it saying the notification of service for case? Is that how it's listed? I got an eFileTexas.gov. Is this the right thing?
Yes. And Your Honor, if you like me to, I can screen share it as well if that's easier.
We can do that if Ms. Davis can't find it there. This is exhibit number 5 that she's asking about now, Ms. Davis, if you see it there. And if you'd like, Ms. Allen can screen share it where you can look at it on the screen if you'd like. Would you rather?
Yes, let's do the screen share because I don't see this.
All right.
All right. This is exhibit number 5 right here, and it lists out the Michigan criminal history record. And this was as of November 13th of 2020. Do you have any objections to this exhibit?
Right. Now that you've seen it, Ms. Davis, do you have any objections to the admission of counter petitioners exhibit number 5?
No, sir.
Ms. Williams, do you have any objections?
No objections.
And Ms. Deno?
No objections.
All right, counter petition exhibit 5 is admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. And Ms. Davis, I'm going to refer you to counter petitioners number 13, which is also a certified copy of one of your criminal histories for possession of a controlled substance out of the state of Michigan. Do I need to screen share that as, I'm sorry, I need to screen share that as well for you?
Why don't you just do that, Ms. Allen?
Yes, Your Honor. Can you see that, Ms. Davis?
Yes.
All right. And you pled guilty to possession of less than 25 grams of cocaine as a controlled substance back in 2010. Is that correct?
Yes.
Are you aware that there is an active criminal warrant for you on that case for failure to complete your probation?
I have a court date set for that. I didn't realize it still showed active warrant, but I'll be in court on March 6th for that.
Your Honor, I would offer counter petitioners number 13, please.
Do you have any objections to the admission of that exhibit, Ms. Davis?
No, sir.
Any objections, Ms. Williams
No objection.
and Ms. Deno?
No objection.
All right, and that's 13, is that correct, Ms. Allen?
Yes, Your Honor, that's 13.
Counter petition exhibit 13 is admitted.
So Ms. Davis, when did you contact the state of Michigan regarding this outstanding warrant?
I contacted them in November.
November of
They,
2020?
yes, November of 2020. And they, it took a while to get in front of them.
Okay. And so you would agree with me that in November of 2020, there was an active felony warrant regarding this case?
Yes, ma'am.
And so would you agree with me, Ms. Davis, that you have not completed any kind of adoption home study that is required?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you completed one of those?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Have you completed a criminal history and fingerprint card for the court as required?
No, ma'am.
And you would agree with me that you have CPS history, is that right?
Did I have, I'm sorry, what was that?
You have CPS history.
Yes, ma'am.
Is it accurate that your son Chaden was actually removed from your care due to a CPS case?
Yes, ma'am.
And that the court order that's currently in place regarding that child names a family member as his managing conservator, is that correct?
We have joint custody of him. I have him.
Isn't he supposed to be residing under the court order with a relative?
No, ma'am.
Did you have that order modified?
No.
And that order was from a CPS case, and that CPS case started because you were using heroin, is that correct?
I was taking pills.
You were abusing heroin or morphine products, opioids?
It was an opioid.
And so, and when did your child get removed? What year was that?
2013.
And that case continued until 2015, is that right?
Yes,
Okay, so in 2015, though, your child was not placed back with you by CPS, is that correct?
it was joint custody between myself and my cousin.
Was your son living primarily with somebody else?
Yes, for 6 months. We had to do a 6-month.
Objection, non-responsive after yes, Your Honor.
I'll sustain the objection after yes.
And so at the end of that CPS case, CPS did not return your child to your primary care. They rather named a third party. Is that right?
No,
And so you would agree with me that the court, that CPS cannot license you for adoption. Do you agree with that?
I don't know. I don't even know why CPS has anything to do with adoption. You guys are supposed to be in place to take care of kids when their family's unfit. They don't have a family that's unfit right now. I don't know where you're going with this.
Objection, non-responsive.
Sustain.
Ms. Davis, has CPS told you that they cannot place a child with you because of your criminal history and your CPS history?
CPS told me it's against policy to do that. However, it's not against the law to place and adopt under those circumstances. I am neck on a
Non-responsive.
kinship.
I'll sustain the objection. You've answered the question now.
Do you agree that the Gillians have taken good care of LYLAH and Sapphire?
I think that I have been excluded from knowing what's going on with them girls. I have no idea.
Objection, non-responsive.
Oh, overruled. I think she answered your question.
And you've not seen the girls since October of 2019, is that correct?
I believe it. Yeah, I believe it was 2019.
Okay. And you intervened in that termination case on the day of trial in October of 2019, is that correct?
Yes,
But the children actually came into care in February of 2018, is that correct?
yes,
So from February of 2018 until October of 2019, you did not pursue any kind of legal action in this case, is that accurate?
I was speaking with attorneys behind. I didn't hire an attorney because I was told to wait. And when I was consulting with an attorney, I was told to wait until
Objection.
termination.
Sustain.
Would you agree with me that you did not take any legal action in this case from February of 2018 until the day of trial in October of 2019?
Not true.
The first time that you appeared in this case as a party was with your intervention on the day of the termination trial, is that correct?
I requested, I wrote, I did everything I could do, and I was at every court date. I haven't missed a court date.
Objection, non-responsive.
Sustain.
I just asked the court to take judicial notice of the file and that Mrs. Davis' first appearance in this case was an intervention on the date of trial in October of 2019.
I will do so.
Thank you, Your Honor. You would agree with me that these girls have been in the care of the Gillians since February of 2018 until the present, save and except the time that they were placed with their paternal grandmother. Is that correct?
Yes,
And that placement occurred approximately February of 2019 till June of 2019. Is that correct?
yes,
So of the last 3 years, the Gillians have been the full-time primary caregivers except for 4 months. Is that correct?
it was closer to 5, but yes.
Isn't it accurate that you were not supposed to have unsupervised contact with those girls during their placement with the paternal grandmother?
That is not true. CPS lifted all restrictions on me.
In the summer of 2020, with the most recent CPS referral, was Chaden residing in your care?
Yes,
Did you tell CPS that he was residing in your care, or did you tell him that he was residing somewhere else?
in my care.
Would it surprise you if CPS indicates that they were told that Chaden was not residing in your care?
It would surprise me because that's not true. They never ask anything about where he was residing.
When was the last time that you used illegal drugs or substances not prescribed to you?
I have 4 years clean.
So in the summer of 2019, you did not relapse and use drugs?
No,
Would it surprise you if your attorney indicated that prior to the termination trial in October of 2019?
yes, it would.
So you think the court today should place LYLAH and Sapphire in your care even though you have an active felony warrant?
That is getting dismissed March 6th.
Objection non-responsive.
Sustained.
Do you think that this court should place these two girls with you having an active felony warrant?
Yes, I do.
Do you think it endangers children to place them with parents or relatives that have active felony warrants?
It depends on what it is. In this case, no.
Do you think it's concerning that you were residing with somebody as recently as February of 2020 that passed away of a drug overdose?
It was very painful. It was very unexpected. And
Responsive.
so if you want to use my grief as part of your game, okay. It makes you sleep at night.
Do you think it's concerning that you were residing with somebody that died of a drug overdose in as recently as February of 2020?
Do you think it's concerning that there are foster parents that are charged with murder?
Objection.
You can't control what somebody does. I had no idea he was not using drugs. You're not going to blame this on me.
All right, you've made your point, Ms. Allen. Let's move on.
Ask the witness, Judge, at this time.
Ms. Williams, do you have questions, Ms. Davis?
Just a few, Your Honor. Ms. Davis, if you could just clarify, what is it you're asking for today from this judge?
An opportunity to be a part of these babies' lives. And I had to file adoption. I had to file everything that I filed because I don't want to lose contact with these babies. And I will raise them if I'm given the opportunity to. I will be their grandma if I'm given the opportunity to. I will do whatever it takes to continue to be a part of their life.
Earlier, when you made your statement to the court, you had indicated that you just want to be a part of their lives, and you would feel that you were a part of their lives if you were visiting the children. Is that correct? Is that
regular visits? Yes, ma'am.
You also stated earlier that you visited these children at every opportunity that you could while this case has been pending. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And when you say every opportunity, what does that mean?
CPS office visits, birthday parties, any opportunity that I've had, anything that's been presented to me.
And so when there's a weekly visit offered to the family for these children, that you would attend every weekly visit that was offered?
Yes, I did.
So would it surprise you to know that the CPS records show you made only 5 visits since this case has started in February of 2018?
That's a flat out lie.
And that the records show you made 1 visit on March 26th of 2018. Does that sound correct?
No, I was every single visit, and that is the truth. God knows that's.
Do you believe you made a visit on March 26th of 2018?
That I made a visit?
Yes.
If it was a visiting day, yes, I was there.
Okay. Were you at a visit on December 3rd of 2018?
I was at every
I'm
visiting.
asking you a direct question. Were you at a visit on December 3rd of 2018? Yes or no?
I don't have a direct date. I was at every visit. Thank you.
So you do not know the answer if you were at a visit on December 3rd of 2018?
I was at, if there was a visiting day, if it was a registered visiting day, yes, I was there.
Okay. If the CPS record shows you were there, would you agree with that?
I was at every visit.
Would you agree with it if the CPS record showed you were there? Yes.
I don't care about a CPS record. You just said that the record said I was there 5 times, and that's not right.
Objection non-responsive. If you could please direct the witness to just answer the questions that's being asked, not the questions she wants to answer.
Just a moment, Ms. Williams. Ms. Davis, you need to listen carefully to the question. I know you're frustrated. I know you're upset, but you're going to have to just answer the questions and listen carefully to the question. Just answer the question. Again, I'm going to give you a chance to testify again after all these lawyers finish asking their questions to you, okay?
Okay.
Not going to work if you do this.
Yes, sir.
All right, ask your question again, please, Ms. Williams.
Thank you, Your Honor. If the CPS record indicates that you were present on a visit on December 3rd of 2018, would you agree with that?
Yes.
And if the CPS record indicates you were present at a visit on December 28th of 2018, would you agree with that?
Yes.
The CPS record indicates you were present at a visit on January 11th of 2019. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
And if the CPS record indicates that you were present at a visit on November 4th, 2019, would you agree with that?
Yes.
And so the CPS record indicates those are the 5 visits that you have attended. Do you understand that?
I understand that that's what they have, what they're giving.
But you're, just one moment, please. But you're trying to be here today to testify to say that you have been at far more than that, than what CPS has a record of. Is that correct?
The Zoom cut out when you were speaking. What did you say? I'm sorry.
I said, is it your testimony today that you were present at far more visits than the 5 visits that have been recorded by CPS?
Yes, ma'am.
And are you familiar with the caseworker that is assigned to work with these children, Brianna Daniel?
I met her.
Okay. And are you familiar with the supervisor of the unit, Joanna Letts?
Yes, ma'am.
And you know how to reach these 2 ladies, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Ms. Deno, do you have questions?
I have just a couple, Judge. So do you have any idea what the emotional needs are of these children?
Yes, ma'am. I have 2 children.
What are their emotional needs?
They need development, care, security, counseling, love. They need blood family. Those are their emotional needs in my mind.
And do you have any idea what the medical needs are for these children?
Anything that comes up. I mean, obviously I haven't had them, so if there's anything, there was no pre-existing conditions with either of them prior to at the last time I saw them, except for the hematoma in LYLAH's eye that they said she would grow into. I took her to her doctor's appointments.
And given the fact that you had history of drug use, if you were to take a drug test today, what would that drug test show?
Negative.
Do you take any medications?
Yes.
What medications do you take?
Latuda, lithium, Wellbutrin, and Adderall.
And what type of mental health diagnosis do you have?
ADHD and situational depression.
And what would your plan be if you were taken into custody because of the felony warrant? What would your plan be to care for these kids?
I have a support network that love me, my kids, and my grandkids.
I'll pass the witness.
All right, Ms. Davis, is there anything else you would like to say at this time?
So, I mean, I would. I don't know if I should. I kind of think I did. It is not true that I was only at 5 visits. I was at every visit that I was allowed to be at. There was the caseworker. We had 5 different caseworkers throughout the duration of this case. And one of the caseworkers, 2 of the caseworkers at random had said that that I couldn't participate in the visits other than once a month because that's all that grandparents were allotted. And I can't even remember that caseworker's name. She was like the first caseworker on there. She told me, don't sit up in here and act like you care about these kids. You don't care about these kids. You're the one that called CPS. And I'm like, do you work for CPS? Or, I mean, why are you saying this to me? I do care about them. And I called because I care about them. But she made it like I was trying to act like I care about them. And if I cared about them, I wouldn't have called CPS. So there were two separate caseworkers and 2 separate times where I was blocked from coming to the visits for a short amount of time, maybe about, one of them was like 4 visits, but the problem was Monica, my daughter, and their father, Curtis, was not showing up at the visits, and they kept on bringing the girls. Mr. and Miss Gillian was bringing the girls weekly for their visits, and then they were having no parents that were showing up. So they allowed me to visit the girl, and that's how I got back to the visits each time. Each time. The other thing I want to address, I find it very ugly that somebody would think that it's okay to try, if somebody's not, my brother and my fiance both died less than 48 hours apart, and out of nowhere. My brother had a cardiac arrest, and yes, my fiance did have a drug overdose, but that does not mean that that's what was going on in my house. That does not mean that that's the life that I live. I would not be able to maintain, I have had the same job for 8 years. I would not be able to maintain my life, my housing, my vehicles. I would not be able to continue to show up for visits and court dates. I would not be able to have my son, because I do have people, a person in place that is supposed to make sure that if I'm doing something wrong, that I let them know. So yes, somebody did call CPS and tell them that I was on drugs behind the incident that happened with John. I have no idea who that was. But I do know that CPS came, they saw me, they closed the case. They found that it was untrue. The other thing is, what else was I gonna say? I understand that I don't have a squeaky clean record. I understand that I've made a lot of mistakes in my life. But it does not mean I don't love them babies and that I'm not capable of caring for them and protecting them. I had to call CPS to protect them. I've had to seek counseling. I've had to work on this on a very deep level within myself, in relation to my daughter and my granddaughters. I wouldn't expect that people would be not concerned by my history, but I would also hope that people would also become an unrighteous human and recognize that just because a person did something doesn't mean that doesn't define who I am. My mistakes do not define who I am. My addiction does not define who I am. I am clean. I have made changes, and I'm grateful for the path that I once walked, because I wouldn't be half the person I am today if I didn't know so much from then. I get opportunities to live and be of service to people today that I would never even have an idea I could do or would have a need to do. I didn't understand that my purpose in life is to be here for others. I thought my purpose in life was to be here for myself, and I was a self-centered, selfish drug addict. And I didn't care if I broke the law. I didn't care if I wasn't supposed to drive with drugs. I didn't care if I was harming myself. I didn't know in the moment then that I was harming my children. I didn't realize that. I'm grateful that CPS got involved with my life. I'm grateful my son was taken from me. I'm grateful that I went through that, because I live a life today. I've been blessed enough to be able to live two lives in one. And I would have never known how much to appreciate on this side had I not come from where I come from, through childhood all the way adulthood. I have a criminal record, but it doesn't mean I have a criminal mind. I have made mistakes, but it doesn't mean that I'm loveless. It doesn't mean that I'm incapable. We don't ever know. We don't ever know what can come about, what's going to happen in life from one day to another. I know people that I've met in the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous, because I am an active member of Narcotics Anonymous, and they didn't even find out that they were an addict until they were 47 years old. They got hurt, prescribed medication, and then realized, they took it out of control. And it could happen to anybody else just as much as it did me. The disease of addiction does not discriminate against anybody. I am just grateful, and I'm sorry that these babies might have to not get a chance to know their family. It makes me sad that I trusted in a system that I feel like I don't want the system to fail me, not me, but them. It's them, because they deserve to know who their family is. They deserve to be a part of our lives. I am a good person. I do many good things. Yes, I have a past. Yes, that active warrant wasn't that one. All of that is true. It is true. It is still not who I am, and it is still not anything to do with what these babies what kind of life they could have if they are given the opportunity to live with me or maintain contact with me. I'm asking the court to please consider all that I've said, knowing that, yes, even though these things are true, what I'm saying to you is true as well. I live different. I am a different person than I once was. And at the very smallest rate of anything, I pray that God would at least, if nothing else, allow me to have visitation and maintain a relationship, not a visitation like getting photos here and there, like a real relationship, like a real.
I would object. It is outside the scope of Mrs. Davis's pleadings on file, and I do not want to offer them or to permit them by some sort of admission or failure to object.
I'll sustain the objection.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You've told us that you want visitation, so you've already testified to that. And I do think it's going a bit too far if I allow you to start testifying as to what kind of visitation you want. So is there anything else you'd like to say, ma'am?
No, sir.
Ms. Allen, do you have any other questions, Ms. Davis?
I have a couple, Your Honor. Is it accurate that you also have CPS history in Michigan, Ms. Davis?
Yes, I did.
Isn't it accurate that actually Monica, these girls' biological mother, was removed from your care as well?
Yes, it is true.
And that's because of your drug use?
Yeah, I just said that. I have made mistakes in my life.
Is it accurate as well that in November of 2009, there was actually an Amber Alert issued because you absconded with Monica?
You want to look at the charge or the outcome? Because I was charged with interference with a court order and I had a $300 fine to pay.
Objection, non-responsive, Your Honor.
Sustain.
Ms. Davis, my question was there an Amber Alert issued because you absconded with Monica?
Yes, there was. That's why I don't listen to Amber Alerts.
Okay. Your Honor, I would offer counter petitioners number 10, which is the November 23rd, 2009 at the Burton Police Department. They canceled the Amber Alert, but that there was an Amber Alert. I can.
All right, what, number 10? Do you have any
10.
objection? Okay, go ahead and post screen share, please.
Do you have any objection, Ms. Davis, to this document?
No.
Any objections, Ms. Williams?
No objection, Your Honor.
Ms. Deno?
No objection.
All right, counter petition exhibit number 10 is admitted.
And so your drug use got Monica removed from you, and Monica's drug use got these girls removed from her. Is that accurate?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll pass the witness, Judge.
Ms. Williams, any other questions, Ms. Davis?
No other questions, Your Honor.
Ms. Deno?
I just have one. Miss Davis, is there anyone else living in the home with you at this time or staying there?
Yes, there is. Blake Gutierrez.
And who is that?
He is one of my friends' roommate right now.
And so he lives in the home or stays in the home?
Yes.
Is there anyone else?
No.
I'll pass the witness.
All right, Ms. Davis, anything else you want to say?
No, sir.
Ms. Allen, any other questions?
No, sir, not of Ms. Davis.
Ms. Williams?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right. And Ms. Davis, did you testified or you told me earlier that you had no other witnesses, and that's true, correct?
Yes, sir.
So do you rest your case?
I do rest my case.
All right. All right. We can proceed then. Does anybody need a break?
Your Honor, I would like to make a motion for directed verdict under Texas Rule of Civil Procedure 268. Ms. Davis's petition requests adoption. She has not complied with the statutory requirements of adoption, specifically 162.003, which is an adoption evaluation, which is mandatory under Chapter 107, Subchapter E. She also has not complied with 162.0085, that she shall obtain a criminal history report in accordance with that. Likewise, she is required to, under 162.010, to obtain consent. It is her burden under the Fort Worth Court of Appeals case Chapman v. Home 561 Southwest 2D 265, that the burden of proof on establishing lack of good cause rests on the party seeking waiver of that consent. And I do not believe that Ms. Davis has complied with any of those things. And so I'd ask the court to find directed verdict and deny her request for adoption.
All right. Ms.
And is that applicable when it's a kinship placement?
Okay, do you have any other response?
Me?
Yes, ma'am.
No, I was just wondering if that's still applicable under kinship placement, because I filed post-termination kinship placement and my daughter is actually incarcerated. So all these, I'm not an attorney. I don't know. She could have just spoken Chinese to me. I don't understand what was just said. I hope that it doesn't apply when it's kinship, because I'm not trying to go just adopt. I'm not trying to go grab somebody's kid off the street and say, hey, let me just adopt these. These babies were born to this family, and this is their God-given family.
Ms. Williams, do you have any response to Ms. Allen's motion?
No response, Your Honor.
Ms. Deno?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Davis,
Yes, sir.
the law does require that you, if you're going to adopt, whether you're a grandparent or whether you're a step parent or whether you are just somebody else wanting to adopt a child, the law does require that you, at the very least, have a social study done and a criminal history report done, and you didn't do it. I don't have any authority to consider your adoption if you didn't do those two things. And it is something that it's up to you to do it. It's not something that gets appointed just automatically. You have to file the proper motions. And with the motions, they're always granted. I mean, had you filed the motion, well, I would have appointed a social worker to do a social study, and I would have, the social worker would have gotten the criminal history report, and then you could have proceeded. At least you'd have had everything done that you needed to do. But I understand how you feel, and it's a sad thing. But I don't think I don't have any authority to do anything but grant Ms. Allen's motion for directed verdict.
Can I ask for an extension to complete it?
No, ma'am, the trial is today. And I know you're pro se. I know you don't have an attorney. I know you don't know all the rules. But I think, I know that I'm obligated to hold you to the same rules as I would Mr. and Ms. Gilliland, for instance. If you're an attorney, I'd have to hold you the same rules that you hold an attorney. You have every right to represent yourself, and that's fine, but you still have to follow all the rules, and you just didn't. And I know it's not anything you did intentionally. I know you didn't intentionally not follow the rules, but I'm going to grant the directed verdict, and I will find that you, at this point, I'll find that you didn't do what you need to do to proceed with your case. So I'm going to have to take you out of this case, and I'm sorry. But anyway.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. I did prepare an order that outlines the denial of Ms. Davis's petition.
I've got the order denying the relief sought by Ms. Davis, and I'll sign it.
Thank you. Your Honor.
Ms. Davis, you're free to leave if you'd like. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And Your Honor, we are ready to proceed with the adoption at this point in time with the Gilliland family. I know that they are ready to.
Just give us a moment here.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Ms. Davis, you won't stay. If you won't stay, you can stay, but I don't know why you'd want to. All right. All right, well, let's proceed then.
Your Honor, could I have my clients have a couple minutes? I do think that the girls are present in the home with some other family members in the event that the court did decide to proceed with the adoption. Would they be able to go and get them so that they could participate?
Sure. Who do we have out here, Jennifer? We have,
I know that there's probably some family members.
We have Casa out here. We should have let them in earlier, I think.
She just clicked on Judge. Jenny Parker.
Yeah, go ahead, please. If I didn't say yes, get them.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Gilliland, if you just want to let me know when the girls are ready, and if you have any family that wants to get on, now's the time if you want to let them know.
Are we still doing a record on this part, Judge?
Ms. Allen, do you want a record on this, on the adoption?
No, Your Honor, I don't need a record on the adoption.
And Ms. Williams, are you okay with not having a record on this adoption?
We're fine.
And Ms. Denos?
Objection.
Okay, then Jennifer, no, you can log off. Thank you.
Thank you.
But you got a poo-poo in your pants.
Ms. Gilliland, do you have anybody else that wants to get on?
I think I sent them the information. If they hop on, they can, but we don't have to wait.
Okay, sounds great. If you tilt it sideways, you might get, if you move your phone or, there you go, perfect.
Yeah. Well,
He's so cute.
Here, you wanna see? Do you see the judge? Can you say hi?
You say hi,
See
Bubba?
Miss Brianna, Miss Darcy, and Dee Dee, and Lisa and Granda. You see? You see?
Lila and Gracie and Gabe.
All right. And Judge, are you still there? I lost your picture. Did we lose him? Did we lose the judge? Uh-oh.
It looks like it.
Hold please, let me, hold on 1 second.
Mhm.
Um,
It's trash.
Put that.
It's trash,
It's
Bubba.
just the box, baby.
Go change your diaper. Come here.
okay, thanks. All right. Are y'all there? Yeah, she's there.
We're here, Judge. Sorry about that. They said you had a technical glitch.
My computer just restarted right in the middle of the whole thing. I've never had that happen.
All right.
Glad to see you back.
We're glad you're back, Judge. This is the best part.
Yeah, we got by the bad part. Now it's for the good part. Well, the kids are awfully cute.
They are adorable.
Awfully
It's a
cute.
judge. Hi, Judge. I can hear you.
All right. Well, why don't you go ahead and proceed, Ms. Allen?
Thank you, Judge. I'd call Miss Gilliland, please. Please state your name.
Andrea Gilliland.
All right. And we are here today with LYLAH Foley, and she is a female child born September 7th of 2016, and Sapphire Davis, a female child born January 14th of 2018. Is that correct?
Yes.
And sitting next to you is your husband, and he joins today in this petition for adoption. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes.
And today you are petitioning the court asking for you and your husband to be able to adopt these two girls.
Yes.
They have been placed in your home since approximately February of 2018, except for about a 4-month period where they did go to the paternal grandmother. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you know all of the ins and outs of these girls?
Yes.
All the good, the bad, all the hard parts and the amazing parts?
Mhm.
And you are currently their foster family, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
And you have completed all the prerequisites for the adoption, the pre and post-adoptive home study, the criminal background check, the report to the court, and all the things that CPS has required. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
And you have worked with CPS. They have filed their consent to the adoption as well today. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you understand up until today that you only had a moral obligation to these girls. And if the court grants this adoption today, they will become yours in every way, shape, and form. And you will be responsible for them now and when they're really hard at 15 and 17.
Yes.
And you're asking the court to approve that and also to change the girls' names. Is that correct?
Yes.
You want to change LYLAH's name to LYLAH Jean Gilliland. Is that right?
Yes.
And you want to change Sapphire's name to Lily Grace Gilliland. Is that correct?
Yes.
And do you believe that this adoption is in these girls' best interest?
Yes, I do.
And you promise to love them forever?
Yes.
Be their mom and dad forever?
Yes.
And spoil them rotten, basically.
Definitely.
Your Honor, I'd pass the witness.
All right, well, Ms. Williams, do you have any questions?
No, I do not, Your Honor.
Ms. Deno?
No questions.
All right. Call your next witness.
Your Honor, I have no further witnesses. I just am truly excited for this family. These girls have been in foster care for more than 1,000 days. And so this has been a long time coming. I'm really happy for them.
All right. And Ms. Deno, do you have a recommendation for the court as far as this is concerned?
I do, Judge. I agree that the adoption is in their best interest. They are happy and loved and cared for. And so I'm happy that it's ending today and they're able to adopt.
Right. And I ask you both of y'all understand that up until today, you've really only had a moral obligation to these children. You could always give them back. You could have done that until I grant this adoption. You understand that, correct?
Yes, sir.
I don't know why you'd want to, but like Ms. Allen says, when they're 15 and 17, trust me, you'll want to more than once. But you understand that once I grant the adoption, they're yours if they've been born naturally to you. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right. All the good parts and the bad parts. Mostly good parts. Well, all right. It is my honor and my pleasure to grant this adoption. And I will order that LYLAH's name be changed to LYLAH Jean Gilliland and Sapphire's name be changed to Lily Grace Gilliland. So congratulations. Yay. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. Did you
Yay.
do you have an order in here somewhere, Ms. Allen, for the adoption?
Your Honor, I did. I provided it actually to Jennifer with hopes that this would happen. And so she does have a copy. I'm happy to email it to the court if she cannot get it to you.
Oh, I'm sure she's very reliable, so I'm sure that she has a copy of it. All right,
Thank
well,
you.
I'll sign the order and I'll sign the other order. And so that should conclude the hearing. And Costa, I didn't hear from you, but I assume y'all think this is a good thing to happen too, correct?
Our CASA worker's been on this case almost in the very beginning, so I appreciate all of her hard work as well. I know that we are very excited.
All right, well, there's happy endings, so let's. All right, well, congratulations again. I'll let y'all go and y'all have a wonderful day.
Amen.